Welcome to Corporate Cafecito,
a Latin and business podcast where we share insights and strategies to help entrepreneurs and professionals thrive. Welcome back to Corporate Cafecito. I am Carlos Butler Valle.
Y yo soy Nayeli Suarez Gas. And today we're talking about a celebration, but the delicate weaving or balance of planning for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah, and you know what? It may as you're seeing this episode, we're right in the throes of obviously summer. But if you are smart, and a lot of obviously folks are, they're starting to get their planning going for Hispanic Heritage Month, and you know, it brought back some maybe memories, you know, or even some stories that I have heard from people that have said that unfortunately, when it comes to, there's typically 2 times of the year where they feel like there's a lot of tokenism, you know, maybe, or all of a sudden you become the office party or the fiesta planner, and that's
and
Cinco de Mayo.
Says fiesta.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, or Hispanic Heritage Month. And, you know, part of what we want to do, obviously, is to make sure that, you know, to acknowledge the fact that this is an amazing time. Both of these are amazing times for celebration, for education, for awareness building. It's also a really good opportunity to get your name out there and to become visible. But we want to make sure that you feel empowered to do things that are the right things, and that it's not just you going about and being the office party planner because you are Latin and you, in some cases, maybe the only one or one of a few.
Yeah. And you know what? There was Maria, she was on this podcast before, and she said she never wanted anyone at her company, and she owns like a game company, Maria Burns Ortiz. And she said, I never want anyone in the room to feel like they have to be the embodiment of an entire culture.
Ooh, I like that.
And I was just like, oh, nothing makes me feel like the embodiment of an entire culture than Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things that I've heard from folks in the past, whether it's, you know, one-on-one or coaching or, you know, group activities, is that part of the tension here is that, you know, we want to both be celebrated for our culture and also want to make sure that we're still in there and not sidelined when it comes to strategy.
Right.
Because a lot of folks feel that when those critical conversations in business happen, they may not necessarily have a seat at the table, but when it comes to these types of, you know, cultural events or celebrations, all of a sudden they're being, you know, placed right in the center.
So let's manage that.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a thoughtful way to do that. And part of it is I do want to, like, I am a good party planner. So I always wanted to make sure that for Hispanic Heritage Month, part of it was celebration, because to me, that is integral to our culture. So I wanted to make sure that in that month, we were not only celebrating, I did plan a party. I did make sure I connected with all these small business owners because I wanted their culture and their businesses to be represented within my corporate setting. But then I also wanted it to be about education.
Absolutely.
Like, who are we? What do we represent?
Yeah.
Why is it important for your posters of your brand to look like me?
One of the things that I had to challenge was the fact that Hispanic Heritage Month really meant Hispanic Heritage Month. And I think a lot of folks associated with, you know, Mexican independence, or maybe they knew about 1 or 2 countries that were going through that, but didn't realize there's such a tremendous, so many that are celebrating during that time period. And so it was feeling safe enough and comfortable enough to be able to say, we're not having tacos every day. We're not just bringing mariachis in every day. I mean, I could, of course, remember, you said 4 billion tacos, right? But it was about, like, how do we expand this? And, you know, the reality is, you know, because we're all solutions driven. And so one of the things that I would say to people is, okay, well, if we don't have someone from Ecuador, and Ecuador is celebrating their, you know, independence as well, then let's go outside of our current network to find somebody that may be a subject matter expert, you know, someone who is from that background that can give us a little bit of an understanding about how we can best celebrate and pay homage, to these things. And so your point is well taken. If you are one of those people who's responsible for planning that,
Mm-hmm.
look beyond the immediate to all of the resources that you might have available to ensure that you're giving people as much breath as possible as you're thinking about these celebrations.
Absolutely. Carlos and I are both available for Hispanic
Absolutely.
Heritage
We're
Month
more than
keynote
happy to
speaking.
help. Absolutely.
But if you don't want to do it, don't feel like you have to do it.
Thank you.
Because a lot of times we'll feel that way of like, okay, well, I'm here and they asked me and now I have to do it. Like, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think some folks, depending on the company, if you're leading this work, you either get some sort of incentive or, whatever that might be. Some people are perfectly fine doing this on a voluntary basis. I think that's
I
great
always
as
did it as a
well.
volunteer. Yep.
But there's a difference between, but let's also recognize this can be a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
and there has to be balance. And so, it should not be necessarily an expectation that you're going to do this and or that you're going to do this for free. Um, it's important to place those barriers and those boundaries
I
to be able to
agree.
say,
Yeah.
here's what I'm able and willing to do. Because listen, we can be scrappy. You know that.
Oh, yeah. We could come up with a party
And
right now.
absolutely,
The first 50 people to get here.
we can be scrappy and we can do it all, and we can in some cases get so passionate about things that maybe
Mhm.
we bring something from home or whatever it might
Right.
be. Figure out where that balance is. What you don't want to do is all of a sudden become unpaid labor, because at the end of the day, if you don't feel good about what that return is on the back end, you're just going to walk out or walk away from it with a bitter
So
experience.
one of the things that I always made sure when I was doing this was I wanted visibility to the
Yeah.
executive leadership team. SHs and CHs always trip me up. But that was part of what I was like, oh, I'm happy to do this. Let me know when I can get 15 minutes with the ELT. I'm
Mm,
going to say that. I'm not going to say it again.
mm.
So that I could present and share out like why this is important, like an education on my community. I also chartered buses and took people into our neighborhoods to see like here's the difference. This is how people interact with our brand. This is
Wow.
this
So
street
you made
is
it immersive.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, we're gonna learn. And I said like, what's my budget? And the reality is, Carlos, sometimes my budget was enough to cater lunch and do a slideshow.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I
Yeah.
was happy because the people who came wanted to learn about my people and my community and the Latinas in the United States and abroad. And so I just want to make sure, like, if you want to do it, like, do it. Know what you want, right? If it was just the education piece, then great, like, mission accomplished. But
Yeah.
set those metrics of what is success to you.
Absolutely.
As I did it and as I, grew in my positions and in my leadership, then I was able to say like, okay, but I need 15 minutes with this team.
Yeah, and walk into it and walk away from it, making sure that you feel that your expectations, like
Mm-hmm.
level set those expectations, and then, you know, I think to me one of the best parts of Hispanic Heritage Month planning is the sort of after action report, and making sure that there's the what did the group want to accomplish, and then there's the what did the individual want to
Right.
accomplish. And so, make sure that you are being really thoughtful about what your expectations are going into it, so that you are really clear about the level of work that you can engage in, and then also take a moment after the fact to assess whether or not
Right.
you met your own
Mm-hmm.
expectation for how much you wanted to be engaged and what you wanted to do, and whether or not you got every bit of that, every bit that you wanted to get out of
Right.
it,
100%.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Mm.
I would say if I were doing Hispanic Heritage Month, or do what we just said, set metrics of what we want to accomplish as a group and as an individual. Two, I would find the group,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who's going to support me?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have someone with a big enough title that's going to draw people to the room as well. right?
Absolutely.
We need visibility, but we also need engagement, and we need allies to be in that room with us
Absolutely.
to talk about our culture. Um, Make sure that you talk about all the different cultures. Maybe it's a daily email or a weekly email telling people, like, you know what, this week these were the countries that celebrated their independence. This is who they were, who they
Yeah.
got
Famous people
independence
from,
from.
yeah,
Yeah,
famous
like
people from da 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 da. Because sometimes people don't even
exactly.
necessarily
You know, I
know
always talk about
words that originated from,
yes,
common words. Like, I
yes.
mean, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I love,
A
by the
hundred
way.
percent,
But
right? Like that the birth control pill was developed in Mexico.
yeah, didn't know
Know those stats.
that.
Know that we brought color TV.
Yeah,
All those things are really important, and so I think it's highlight the contributions through education, and then make it a point of like, what else do we want to accomplish from here, and make those goals, make them lofty, right? Like submit a full thing of everything you want. Let them pare it down, but know that you'll probably get more than what you would have gotten if you just went in and said like, well, what can I do, or what's my budget? It's like,
yeah.
here are my ideas. In one instance, I brought in underserved high school. I brought in it was like 100% Latina school. I bussed kids in to spend the day with our food scientists.
Wow,
And I was like, learn about this, like learn
that's
about
super cool.
these positions and how we make flavors and things like that. So I think it's really important to know, like, what is your goal? If you're gonna take on this responsibility, what do you want to get out of it?
You know, I love that, and it reminded me of two things. You should absolutely from the very beginning of the planning stages make sure that you've got executive leader buy-in, including a commitment that they are going to be. That doesn't mean that all of them have to be there at every single celebration, but put that out there so that they
Yeah.
within themselves figure out, okay, well, Nayeli, I can't make this Hispanic Heritage Month
But
celebration,
I'll make
but I'll
this
make the next
one.
one. Can you head to that one so that we can make sure that they feel supported?
Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Aquí los esperamos la próxima vez.
Uh, it's always a pleasure to,
Yeah,
talk
so
about these
fun.
topics, and we can't wait to see what some of the really cool Hispanic
Yeah, share
Heritage
your
Month things
pictures
that
and
you
tag
guys
us.
do,
Yeah,
because I know, particularly this year, I feel like there's so much heaviness.
yeah.
That I think this is going to be, we talk about community, this is going to be a really awesome opportunity to create those connections, and to just allow folks to feel supported. And you know what? Even if it's a little bit of a distraction through a celebration, through an educational opportunity, it's a win-win. So have fun y nos vemos en la próxima.